Recently, I made a video on the story of the Nomai in Outer Wilds, but after I uploaded the video, I couldn't stop thinking about the solo Nomai left behind as her people were exterminated. The Nomai whose only interaction for 280,000 years was with a species whose language she couldn't even speak. A Nomai who would never learn what happened to her people, nor her importance in the fate of the universe. So I made this video to tell the story of the solo Nomai, Solanum. Solanum is a rather special Nomai, being the only living, if you can call her that, Nomai that the player can come across. The player, also known as the hatchling, has limited interaction with Solanum, and her ancient texts throughout the solar system are scarce, so much of her life is a mystery. On that note, let's delve into Solanum's story. Solanum grew up in an underground city on the Ember Twin, which was known as the Sunless City. Remnants of her childhood are left behind in the form of ancient texts. If we explore a fossilized anglerfish, we can find texts that her and her friends composed. Adorably, as they were children at the time, their writing is a lot messier than the writing from the adult Nomai. Like the rest of her clan, Solanum was taught about the Eye, the mysterious ancient signal that drew her clan to the system years prior. During her childhood, she felt that the Eye was malevolent, as following its signal had brought great devastation to her clan. At some point, Solanum moved to the Hanging City on Brittle Hollow. We can find two texts that she had written on Hanging City. The first, found in the school district, is written in that childish scrawl that I talked about earlier. The second, found near the shrine to the Eye, is much neater and more adult-like. In Solanum's earlier text on Brittle Hollow, she remarks that the universe has an end, and that, even though the end wouldn't occur during her lifetime, it still made her rather sad to think about. This shows that even from a young age she displayed great empathy. Her latter text talks about her personal beliefs regarding the Eye. Here, she tells us that she no longer believes the Eye to be malicious, but also suggests that it was silly to think that the Nomai were special, that the Eye had called to them specifically. Instead, she remarks that the Eye might have been calling to any sentient species, or that it may not have been calling to anybody at all. It was possible that the signal her clan had received was entirely coincidental, and Solanum had made peace with this idea. Like the Nomai who came before her, Solanum was educated in quantum physics, both at the Tower of Quantum Trials and at the Tower of Quantum Knowledge. At the Tower of Quantum Knowledge, we can find a personalised message directed to her, commemorating her and telling her that she is ready for the next step in her journey. The next stage of Solanum's journey involved a pilgrimage to the Quantum Moon's sixth location. Now, I've explained a lot about the Quantum Moon and the sixth location in my previous video on the story of the Nomai, but it bears re-emphasising here. The Quantum Moon is a mysterious celestial body that has no fixed orbit within the Harthian solar system. Rather, it has the potential to orbit any of the planets and the Eye of the universe. Quantum principles state that it exists in all these possibilities simultaneously until a conscious observer observes it, at which point the possibilities collapse and the moon is observed at a singular location. So the Quantum Moon had 6 possible locations, 5 being the planets of the Harthian solar system, and a 6th location being around the Eye of the universe. It was the 6th location that the Nomai were interested in, because it was the closest they could get to the Eye of the universe. So, as Solanum came of age, she undertook her rite of passage to the Quantum Moon's 6th location, using the quantum principles she had learned throughout her studies. Sadly, while Solanum was on her journey, her clan met a premature end, as the core of the interloper ruptured, spewing ghost matter throughout the solar system and killing her people. But Solanum didn't exactly suffer this fate. She must have been inside the Quantum Shrine on the Quantum Moon with the lights off and the door closed at the exact moment that the interloper ruptured. In this instance, she would not be observing the quantum moon, and the quantum moon would be existing in all 6 locations at once. Because Solanum was on the quantum moon, she herself was also quantum, and therefore at all 6 locations at once as well. So 5 versions of Solanum died, the 5 that were on the Harthian planets. But the version of her that was on the quantum moon as it was orbiting the eye technically survived, although Solanum herself questions whether she is truly alive. Now, my understanding is that the eye exists outside of time, and the quantum moon mimics the properties of the celestial bodies that it orbits. Given that the quantum moon is the eye's moon, it seems likely that the quantum moon also exists outside of time. So, while Solanum remains at the 6th location, she does not appear to be influenced by the passage of time, as the hatchling will soon see. 280,000 years passes in the Harthian solar system, and the Harthians have now evolved to be the dominant species. The hatchling is ready to embark on their maiden journey, and if the hatchling takes the time, they can learn how to reach the 6th location. The hatchling and Solanum actually have a lot in common. To begin, they both had recently come of age and were embarking on their maiden journey. Next, the voyage occurred on the day their people were wiped out. And last, both were not experiencing time in a linear fashion. The hatchling was receiving memories from previous loops of the same 22 minutes, and Solanum appears to exist outside of time altogether. Now, visiting the 6th location is by no means necessary for the hatchling. The player can finish the entire game without ever having met Solanum. But let's focus on the games where people did choose to see Solanum. When the hatchling arrives at the 6th location, they initially try to speak with Solanum, but Solanum does not understand the Harthian tongue. Fortunately, the hatchling is equipped with a Nomai translator, and Solanum is capable of answering rudimentary questions that the hatchling has for her by combining basic pictograms drawn on rocks to compose questions. Here, she will tell you that though she can't understand you, she appreciates your ability to understand her, and she hopes you don't mind if she considers you her friend. Because the hatchling is unable to communicate back to Solanum, Solanum remains unaware of what happened to her people. But it's possible that she may already have a basic understanding. We already know that she doesn't consider herself to be alive, and she states that she feels she is at her journey's end. She was also aware that the Nomai were the only advanced people in the Harthian solar system during her lifetime. So the sudden appearance of a Harthian must have made her question some things. Given that the 6th location is so difficult to find, it would be unlikely that a newcomer to the solar system would just stumble upon it. This, combined with the hatchling already owning a Nomai translator, would indicate that the Harthians had been in the solar system for some time and had been studying the Nomai, or in this case, what remained of them. And given that no other Nomai completed a pilgrimage while she was at the 6th location, she must surely be aware that the Nomai met their end. The hatchling can leave and return to the 6th location at will, but Solanum remains. Which has made me question, is Solanum a conscious observer? So bear with me here because this is a bit speculative, and I tried to avoid that as much as possible in this video, but I really think it's worth questioning this. Now we know that when the moon isn't being observed, it jumps from place to place based on, its quantum properties. But when the hatchling is looking directly at it, or when the hatchling is on the surface of the moon itself, the moon stays orbiting its current planet, or orbiting the eye, because it's under conscious observation. But when you leave the 6th location, the moon is no longer stuck orbiting the eye, it begins to jump from planet to planet again, meaning that it's no longer under constant conscious observation. But Solanum remained at the 6th location, meaning that she might not be a conscious observer anymore. But if she's not a conscious observer, then what is she? I have no idea. The hatchling can meet Solanum one more time throughout their journey, within the ancient glade at the Eye of the Universe. She will join in with the other Harthian musicians to play together one final time as a new universe is created. I've said it in my video on the hatchling's journey that I don't think these characters are actually truly present at the eye. I think it's just that the hatchling is drawing upon their memories and being influenced by their memories as the eye is forced into a singularity. After all, we know that Solanum is stuck at the 6th location, and despite being unable to speak the Harthian language, she communicates with the hatchling perfectly fine at the ancient glade. Even though Solanum might not truly be at the ancient glade, that doesn't make her any less important. If the hatchling never met Solanum, a new universe is still created, and in 14.3 billion years' time, we observe beautiful new planets and the presence of trees. But if the hatchling did meet Solanum, the same planets are observed, but now there are sentient, two-eyed, insectoid creatures living on them. Meeting Solanum has ensured the continuation of sentient life, long after the destruction of our own universe. Recall that in the School on Brittle Hollow, Solanum remarked that it was sad that the universe would eventually end, even though it wasn't occurring in her lifetime. Purely by bizarre happenstance, Solanum was present at the end of all things. If the hatchling doesn't meet her, her story ends rather unceremoniously, with her being irrevocably separated from her people and utterly alone forever. But if the hatchling does interact with her, the end of her tale is rather bittersweet. While her personal story ends tragically, it paves the way for sentient life forms in the future. Life goes on, and all because 2 young adults from different species had a conversation of sorts. Without ever knowing it, Solanum played a vital role in the formation of the new universe. It is her accidental legacy. Well, that's it for my short video on Solanum. Despite the limited interaction we could have with her, I've rarely found myself so touched by an NPC's fate as I have with Solanum's. Thanks for watching the video. I've made other Outer Wilds videos and you can find the playlist in the description below. Also stream on Twitch 3 times a week. You can find me at miss_cherries or just follow the link tree also in the description. Make sure you like and subscribe. Or don't, I'm not your boss. But once more, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a phenomenal day, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.